It happened in less than 4 seconds. The man hadn't even finished tying his son's shoe when the sharp crack of gunfire shattered the air. People screamed. Glass exploded. The crowd on the sidewalk scattered in every direction. But Michael didn't move away, he moved forward. He didn't think about his own safety, his own son still kneeling by the storefront, or the fact that the gunman was only 30 feet away. All he saw was the little girl standing frozen in the middle of the chaos, her small pink backpack dangling from one strap, her eyes locked in terror. And then he saw the gunman turn toward her. Michael ran. 1 heartbeat. 2. The echo of gunfire boomed again. He threw himself between the shooter and the girl, wrapping her tiny body in his arms. The impact hit him like a hammer to the chest, searing, crushing, and the world blurred. He didn't let go. The girl was safe. For now. Michael Grayson was not the kind of man people noticed in passing. At 36, with lines under his eyes and a second-hand jacket that had seen better days, he looked like any other tired single dad juggling work and fatherhood. He worked nights at a warehouse, mornings driving deliveries, and the rest of his time belonged to his 6-year-old son, Caleb. Life hadn't been kind, but Michael had a quiet way of meeting hardship head-on. Bills came late, repairs on the old apartment never got done, meals were sometimes canned soup instead of steak. But he was there for Caleb, every school project, every soccer game, every nightmare at 2 a.m. That was what mattered. That afternoon, he'd taken Caleb downtown for ice cream after school. The air was warm, the streets busy. He didn't know that a man with a stolen gun was already there, angry at the world and ready to hurt strangers just to make someone feel his pain. The moment after the bullet hit him was a haze of noise and motion. Someone screamed for help. Michael's knees buckled, but his grip on the girl didn't loosen. "Stay down," he gasped to her, though the words came out weak. Sirens wailed in the distance, getting closer. His vision dimmed at the edges. And then, 3 minutes later, she came. A sleek black car skidded to the curb. The door flew open, and a tall woman in a sharp navy suit bolted out, her high heels clicking against the pavement. Her face was pale, her hair tumbling out of a perfect updo. She dropped to her knees beside them. "Lily," she cried, her voice breaking. She reached for the girl, who was still clinging to Michael's jacket. "Mommy," the little girl whispered, and finally let go of him. The woman's eyes darted to Michael, and for a second the polished, controlled mask of a corporate CEO crumbled. She saw the blood. She saw his trembling hands. "Don't move," she told him, her voice sharp but trembling. "The ambulance is almost here." She swallowed hard. "You saved my daughter." In the days that followed, Michael woke in a hospital bed more than once unsure if the events had been real. The pain was real. The doctors told him the bullet had missed his heart by 2 inches. Recovery would be long and costly. And then there was her, Rebecca Hale, CEO of Hale and Company, one of the most powerful businesswomen in the city. She visited every day, bringing flowers, coffee, and sometimes her daughter Lily, who now clung to Michael's arm like an old friend. At first, he didn't know how to handle her gratitude. He didn't do it for thanks, or for recognition. He'd simply seen a child in danger and reacted. But Rebecca insisted that wasn't enough. "You risked your life for someone you didn't know," she said one evening, her voice softer than he'd ever heard. "You bled on the sidewalk while my daughter cried in your arms. I owe you more than words." Michael shook his head. "You don't owe me anything. Just love her. Keep her safe. That's enough." She looked at him for a long time before nodding. The challenges didn't stop when he left the hospital. Medical bills piled up. He couldn't work for weeks, and every day he worried about how to put food on the table for Caleb. Rebecca quietly covered his rent for 2 months without telling him. He only found out when the landlord mentioned it. He was proud, almost too proud to accept, but she reminded him that sometimes letting others help is also an act of strength. The hardest part was the nightmares. For weeks, Michael would wake up sweating, hearing the crack of the gun again, feeling the weight of Lily's small body in his arms. Caleb, wise beyond his years, would curl up next to him and whisper, "It's okay, Dad. You're still here." Rebecca faced her own struggles. She'd built her empire on discipline and control, but the shooting had shown her that life could shatter in seconds. She found herself leaving work early more often, attending Lily's school recitals instead of delegating them to her assistant, and spending evenings sitting quietly with her daughter, sometimes with Michael and Caleb, too. Months later, on a quiet autumn afternoon, they met at the same ice cream shop where it had all started. Caleb and Lily raced ahead, laughing. Rebecca stood beside Michael, their hands both holding coffee cups, their shoulders brushing. "You know," she said, watching the kids, "before that day, I thought the most important thing in life was winning. Deals, profits, expansion. I never realized how much I was missing." Michael glanced at her. "And now?" "Now I know it's about the people you take a bullet for," she said quietly. He smiled faintly. "Or the people who'd take one for you." They stood there in silence for a while, two parents who'd been strangers once, now bound together by 3 minutes of chaos that had rewritten everything. And though neither said it aloud, they both understood the truth. Life is unpredictable, fragile, and sometimes unbearably hard, but in those moments when everything is on the line, love is what makes us run toward the danger, not away from it. Message: you don't have to be wealthy, famous, or powerful to be a hero. Sometimes it's the quietest, most ordinary person who stands in the way of tragedy, and in doing so, changes lives forever.